Hi, what's going on, Black Speakers Network family? Super excited that you are here. I want to welcome you to another Black Speakers Network Speaker Spotlight. This is our live interview series that we do here within BSN, and our goal is to be able to introduce you to some talented, incredible, insightful experts from across the Black Speakers Network community. So if we haven't met yet, again, my name is Brian Oles, founder and president here at Black Speakers Network, where our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. BSN, of course, is your home if you are a current aspiring professional speaker. And if that is you, you can learn more about us at blackspeakersnetwork.com. And so right now, you're about to hear from 5 incredible speakers, all from different backgrounds, areas of expertise, different industry sectors. And so this would really be a great opportunity if you are a professional meeting planner. Maybe you're hosting a conference, a workshop, a seminar. Maybe you're looking for experts to feature in a particular article, or you're looking for individuals to come on and share some insight on a podcast. Regardless of what you're looking for, Black Speakers Network has hundreds of speakers, and they are ready to add value to your event. And so everybody that you'll be hearing from today, or any of our past or future live interview series, are featured on our website. We have an online speaker directory, one of the most comprehensive, talented places you'll find on the internet to get high quality speakers. And that's at blackspeakersnetwork.com/speaker-directory. And you'll be able to connect with all of our speakers there. That being said, live interview series is a little bit different. These aren't 30-minute shows or 1-hour shows. These are literally 5-minute speaker interviews. So they are rapid fire questions. And the goal, again, is just to give you a taste. It's a sample. It's like they say, that's all you get for free. But the speakers here are ready to share with you. They have incredible stories. And so if you, again, hear someone that you would like to connect with, whether it's directly to connect with them and find out more about their service, products, and programs, or if you're looking for your next speaker, then this is the opportunity to connect. And so regardless of what platform you're on, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the information to get connected is down below. But that being said, I want to go ahead and jump into our very first speaker. We have, again, 5 speakers that are ready to share with you. And our first is right here. I love talking to people in my own backyard. I am broadcasting live now from Baltimore, Maryland. This next individual is also from Maryland, and that is Waldorf, Maryland. That is Mr. Dominic Curry. Dominic, welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight Series. And if you don't mind, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Man, thank you so very much. I appreciate it, Brian. I mean, before I do anything else, I know this is really supposed to be about our spotlight and to do this, but I would be remiss if I don't take this opportunity to just tell the world how appreciative I am of you being the founding president of this amazing network and organization. I say this because many of my speaker friends and constituents do ask me often, how do I get a part of this, or how do I become connected with that? Because I'm a part of many speaking networks, platforms, and organizations. And I just want to say to you that I have began to direct people straight to the Black Speakers Network. And I want to say I just have to really shout that out, man. And I'm utilizing my minutes to do so because I want people to really connect to what you're doing. I appreciate your vision and what you're doing for this amazing community. So I had to say that. But about me, I am Dominic Curry. I am born and raised in Southeast Washington, D.C. Make my home now in Southern Maryland. That was already said. And I'm just probably the poster child of personal development and personal improvement. With all honesty, I zigged when I should have zagged, did a whole lot of things wrong, and then at some point in life just started to walk on the good foot and turn things around, and just really the product of personal development, personal growth, personal improvement. And I will wave its flag from now to kingdom come, with all honesty, Brian, because it has literally been the story of my life. I was the boy who as a child who parents said stay away from them. And now it's amazing to see how life has shifted and changed in such a degree that that people are now begging me to talk to the same children that they had me stay away from as a child. So life can be very, very funny. I have become a student over the past 24 years, a student of communication and leadership, because I believe wholeheartedly that many, many things could be set in the right course with proper communication and the right leadership, with all honesty. And so that's kind of my forte, my bread and butter. And I'll let you ask the question and reserve much of this, I guess, for the interview, man.
Yeah, no, that's a perfect way to jump start it, man. And I love people that are focused on, communication and leadership. That was, of course, kind of like my entry point into the professional speaking world. What is it that, because I know you said that you specialize in delivering clarity and simplicity to complicated curriculum. As a former trainer and instructional design person, like that resonates with me as well. But what does that mean? Like, what is your goal as it relates to making complicated curriculum or topics? Like, what is your goal? What is your process to simplifying that and making it digestible for people?
Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. I think that many people have minimized communication to talking, but there are a lot of people that are talking, but they're not communicating. They're not actually reaching people. There's not a transmission of information, inspiration, information, education that transmits from them to the actual hearer. And for me, I heard my mentor say something a long time ago that I got a stain on my brain on, man. Like I can get amnesia and I won't forget it. But he said that an educator would take something very simple and make it complex. But a communicator would take that which is complex and they will simplify it. And so, what I have learned to do is to take things that are very, very common and utilize principles of communication, even in complexities, meaning that I have to connect and then I have to make sure that we remain connected. And a lot of people are speaking over people's heads and not saying things in ways that they understand because they're so hung up on what they have to say that they're not considering what the person hears. And so, what I want to do is understand who they are and how they are, and the things that kind of turn them on, the things that causes them to listen a bit closer, and then start to make those connections through my vast experiences, if that makes sense, so that I can actually deliver or allocate a message from me to them. And not only do I do that, but I've been a student of it long enough that now I'm actually called to teach that. And so that makes a lot of difference in my life to be able to show others what I do.
Man, that's so powerful. I can't tell you. It's so crazy running an organization like Black Speakers Network. And of course, we talk about the one side of communication all the time, which is speaking and getting our message out. But you introduce something so powerful, and that is listening. And I think that, it is that it's missed sometimes, that there's an assumption that just because someone's speaking, the other person is listening, and not only just listening, but also understanding. And there's a lot of elements that go into that. Can you give us some insight into who are the people or who are the organizations that you love working with? Like, who is your tribe that you feel like you're called to serve down
Um, Honestly, as weird as it might sound, I am actually attracted to the struggler. All right, the one who feels as if that they have gone as far as they can go, the one that believes that they have plateaued, the businesses, the corporations that I've been able to help and bless, the organizations to go in who have believed that they have plateaued, they have hit that wall, and it's a wall that's so big that they can't get to, so tall that they can't go over, so low that they can't get under, so wide that they can't get around, and they need that breakthrough moment. People are actually my passion. I do get an opportunity to do many things. I pastor what I believe is the greatest church in the world, but regardless to how many titles that might come through church and all of that stuff, the title that resonates with me most, Brian, is minister, because it means to serve, right? And so out of it, forget all of that stuff. There are people that may never come to my church. They may not even believe in we may not share the same specific beliefs, excuse me, but that doesn't mean that I can't serve them. I can't minister to them. And so I was able to start a community development corporation, an actual school, Saving Grace Christian Academy, to find that. Why? Because I want to find people, or I want people to be able to be attracted to me, who are actually struggling, who feel like they can't get any further. And I can just share my story and display what I've been able to do over the past several years to be able to make those shifts and changes. And so those, to answer your question, whether it's a corporation or individual who actually feel as though they've plateaued and they need that breakthrough moment, that's what I'm really, really attracted to. I'm attracted to opposition, and I really believe that opportunity is found in opposition. So you're here. I'm gonna shut up, man. I can do this all
Nah,
day.
man. I hope y'all heard them. I know somebody listening, man. Opportunity is found in opposition. And listen, I love how you kind of expanded the definition of ministry, because truly, I think that's what we're all focused on doing. In the few seconds we have left, man, we always end with this question here in the BSN Spotlight series. How do you want to be remembered? I feel like you already given us somewhat of a glimpse, but if you want to put a capstone on it, let the people know, what do you want your legacy to be?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And in closing, I'll just say it like this: that I coin a phrase, and I close everything with it. I have been blessed to do many things. Authored a book. This is our fifth anniversary, and I'm going to be doing some amazing training on it. But I first said it there. I published it there. But I'm Dominic Curry is how I typically leave every platform. I'm Dominic Curry, helping people everywhere to gain a vision of a better version of themselves. And I say that because it's not my responsibility to get them to do better, but it is my responsibility to help them to see that there is better. And what I am really, really there for and want to be remembered for, I want to be able to make a mark in people's lives that are unable to be erased, that I just play a small part in their progress, enough to be able to help them to gain that vision of a better version. Because you do not have to be what your past was. You do not have to be what your current circumstances claim that you are. And so that is what the greatest takeaway for me is that this guy helped me to see that there was better. And if I see that there's better, I believe that I can be better. So that's what I want to be remembered for, sir.
That's a final word, man. Listen, Dominic Curry, I appreciate you, man. I'm so excited that one, thank you for sharing these nuggets of inspiration and information. Obviously, if y'all want to connect with Dominic, you could do so at blackspeakersnetwork.com. He is on our directory right here in Waldorf, Maryland, but I'm sure he's serving the entire country with his message. And again, thanks for that heartfelt message about Black Speakers Network as well, man. I'm glad that you're a part of the community, and thanks for continuing to advocate for what we're doing over here. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you.
Absolutely. See you, man.
Take care. All right, so I see it's so funny because every time we go live and we start one of these broadcasts, we're doing these about twice a week now. Somebody comes on and they wonder like, what's going on? What's happening? So for people that are just coming in, this is the Black Speakers Network. We are doing our speaker spotlight interview series. Black Speakers Network, we have hundreds of incredible speakers from all across the country and really around the world. At this point, in every area of expertise. And so we have these kind of mini speaker showcases to give you an opportunity to connect. So that's what we're doing if anybody's coming in late. But I'm going to our next speaker who's also local. This is really cool because she's right up the road in Perry Hall, I believe. And that is Miss Shan-Nel D. Simmons is here. She's no stranger to Black Speakers Network. I believe probably one of our earliest members. And actually going back before that. But Shan-Nel, if you don't mind, tell the people who you are and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, hey, Brian. Like you said, I'm Shan-Nel Simmons. I'm from Baltimore. Um, I am all things money, finance, tax, and I am the founder and owner and tax specialist of Nel Tax and Financial Solutions, where I help individuals and businesses correct their IRS issues. So, and right now that's in a transition. So, but that's predominantly what I do. And in the speaking world, I speak with organizations and different audiences about how to handle their finances better and also providing perspectives from a tax lens. So that's it.
All right, perfectly said. I know you got me out of a tax situation or two, and so and as well as for many people here in Black Speakers Network. So thank you for that. Now I know you kind of crafted your, as far as long as I know you, you crafted your message as like the go-to expert when it comes to strategies and guidance around business finance.
Yes.
Certainly an expertise in tax. I know you used to work for the IRS, so you know we got an inside person. But for you, what is your like what are you most passionate about, like why this area, what do you think, entrepreneurs or the companies that you consult with often get wrong or probably just don't consider when it comes to like the big umbrella that is business finance?
Absolutely. What it is the conversation, the sexy conversation is make money. That's what the one that everyone talks about. Everyone always talks about making money. And I mean, of course, I provide that kind of guidance as well. But the conversation that needs to be also a part of the table, and people need to actually know how, not so much points them to someone else, but actually have someone that they can trust and know how, is how to manage their money and how to protect their money, because you can't continue to build on sinking sand if you never learn the tools that you need to be able to manage what you have. You're going to constantly keep feeding a well that's just going to continue to eat up all that you've worked so hard for. You want to build on solid foundation, and that's how you have that generational wealth. I always talk about getting generational wealth. Well, if you don't keep it and you're having things where you're ending up owing, and not only owing, it's okay to owe. When you owe, that means you're profitable. That's another thing. Mindset changes when it comes to taxes. When you owe, you're profitable. However, but when you're owing penalties and interest, that's unnecessary payments. And unfortunately, it's because a lot of people aren't being taught just some of the things and responsibilities that they need to have when it comes to managing, finding legal ways that they can minimize their tax liabilities and such. So, there's other conversations to be had, and that's what I provide.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of circles that I'm in online and up with, it feels like the focus is just, hey, make six figures, make
Yep.
seven figures, ball out. Here's how to travel. Here's how to do this. But nobody's actually talking about, or I would say few people are talking about the other side of the conversation.
Yes.
So for you, when you say like manage your money, I think everybody that's an entrepreneur, when you get into business, there's a sense that, you know, most people aren't coming from like an accounting or finance background, and tax again is a whole other place. So what is your advice for maybe like the solopreneur, somebody that
Mhm.
doesn't have a full-time accounting team, or maybe like a CFO, even like they're wearing all the hats? What is your advice to people who still need to manage the day-to-day but also need to grow their business at the same time?
The easiest way to manage your money is to honestly have a separate account for your financial activity. I know many of you have heard that. Many of you think that is, you keep on saying, I'm going to do it. Do it sooner than later, because if you treat it as sacred as it should be for every dollar that you earn and spend from that account in relation to your business, it's all in one place. And that way, at least now you're not having to fish for the different transactions that relate to your business, and separating them from your wage income, and separating them from your personal income, and separating them from that birthday gift, and separating them from your Christmas. No, everything is now in one place. And then if you are able to afford an accountant, it makes it so much easier. And then if you're even sitting across someone like the Internal Revenue Service, they know that you are taking your business seriously merely because you have already demonstrated that you are separating your personal from your business activities, and it's all right there. And you need to also start carrying around 2 separate debit cards, but that's a different conversation on a different day.
Yeah, the rabbit hole gets deep. I see people are in the comments asking about business credit and stuff that we don't even have time to go into.
We don't have time.
But I will say this, for who should be reaching out to you. Obviously, you have the capacity to serve, Fortune 500 companies, right on down to individual entrepreneurs. But in this season of your work, and I know you said some things may be shifting, who are the people that you're most like passionate about and looking to connect with, whether that's from a speaking perspective or direct services?
My entire life and career has always been around the small business owner. And what small business means to me is someone who's either a solopreneur, someone who has at the maximum about the low 8 figures, 7 figures on down. So multiple 6 figures, maybe just hitting their first 5 figures, haven't even started. I enjoyed that range of folks. Someone who might have a regional business or just one shop. But I right now in this season, I'm leaning more towards an educational space. So I know that Brian just stated there's a lot of questions coming up. So that is great because that is literally where the company is shifting to. So just be ready. Some announcements will be made. And I'm trying to support a lot of you out there who are more in that DIY, solopreneur, just getting started, and or in the transition of trying to go from doing it yourself to eventually having team. So
I like late breaking news. I like to be the first to put
you
it
got
out
the
there.
exclusive, Brian.
Okay, we'll be patient, but I'm excited to hear that because I know we have a lot of people from different audiences watching. In the couple seconds we have left, Shan-Nel, can you tell the people what it is that you want to be remembered for? Like, what do you want your legacy to be?
um, I've been very blessed. I feel like I live my legacy and that I've been able to just make sure more of us are doing our business and doing our business well. That's if more and more companies can say, from either a talk such as this, a webinar, a book, being a client, whatever it may be, if you've encountered me and the one nugget you walked away from me help you do your business better or turn it around, then I've done what I need to do, job, and I can rest well. That's my legacy.
Well said. Well said. Always a pleasure to talk with you, Shan-Nel. Keep up the great work.
Hey.
Tag us on those updates or let me know so we can share, and we'll be looking forward to supporting. But if you all want to connect with her proactively, make sure you do that. She's the only Shan-Nel that we have. That's you see how her name is spelled. And she is right on the speakers directory at blackspeakersnetwork.com. Thanks again, Shan-Nel, and I am looking forward to continuing to partner with you.
Awesome, Brian. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.
All right. So hopefully now you have a flavor of how the speaker spotlights go. We are rocking and rolling. We've heard from 2 speakers so far. We have 3 left. And so I'm going to finally make my way out of Maryland and head on down to Florida to talk to one of our great BSN members. We have Mr. Callie Richardson in the building. And Callie, so great to talk to you again, my friend. I know you've been a long-time member of Black Speakers Network. And so if you don't mind, for the uninitiated, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure, Brian. Thanks. It has been a long time. So my name is Callie Richardson, originally from the United States Virgin Islands, author, doctoral student, lifelong learner. I know I don't have much life to share around yet, but I try to give it where I can. And just looking forward, honestly, to connect with my peers, those who are coming behind me, and really change and help them progress with the demographic and dynamical changes that we're having, from whether that be workforce or not. During the daytime, I'm an emergency manager. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's COVID, hurricane, tornado, flood, terrorist attack, all that fun stuff. And then at night, this is what I do, is try to share whatever knowledge I picked up along the way with those of my peers, just trying to figure it out, honestly.
Absolutely. Well, Callie, I think you have a lot of life experience, man, and it's growing all the time. And one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you today is that you kind of represent, like, if we had a millennial speakers like cohort, like you would be the poster child for that, man. And I know you do a lot. You're kind of at the intersection of both worlds because now, as you mentioned, you're in a doctoral program, but you also speak to colleges and universities quite often. I know you speak on New College Success and Greek Life. And so I would love if you could give us some insight into, number one, what are you studying right now in your doctoral program? And then two, what's it been like? What are some of the things that you've noticed just speaking on college campuses across the country?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So currently, I'm working on my doctorate in public administration with a focus in emergency management and organizational structure, which basically translates to thinking about the organization and the people who do the job of emergency management, because most of the research is just around Hurricane Katrina, Surfside, 9/11, things of that nature. When it comes to being on a college campus, primarily it's refreshing. It's like, I feel like I'm getting ready to go to my science class again at 8 a.m. But it's been one of those things that's not only been nostalgic, but been able to easily translate, because I remember when I was an undergrad, I was blessed to have really great mentors, like Dr. Brian Turner, for example, out in Louisiana, who was able to speak the language of psychology to me in a manner that I could understand. And so whenever I go to college campuses, rather that be about Greek life issues, rather that be about organizational structure, personal development, leadership, I try to speak their language because I understand their language. And so because I'm in that cross section, I'm able to kind of funnel it both ways. I can hear what they're saying as a former chapter advisor and speak to, our old heads and be like, hey, this is what they're trying to do. This is what they're trying to say. And vice versa, letting them know that they want you to be successful, but this is how we have to go about it. We have to handle these steps and handle business. So when I'm on a college campus, again, it's one of those things where it's primarily giving not only the big picture, but the steps in between how we get from one side of the track to the other.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think all of us, if we've matriculated, particularly like state schools, or many of us I went to Morgan State, so HBCUs, but there was always a speaker. There was somebody that I remember that I heard from in a program that really impacted me. And sometimes you can hear from somebody, particularly like your freshman, sophomore, junior year, that could like really just reshape your thought process and kind of help, accelerate your path to success. So I'm really excited that you're doing that work. And then on the other side of the spectrum, on the doctoral research side, I think that's really fascinating. I don't think the average American knows a lot about, what happens and as it relates to like emergency management. We just know big things go wrong and then the federal government is supposed to swoop in, or I guess state governments in some cases, and stuff's supposed to get fixed. But how that happens and what the impact is of the people and what's needed, no clue. So very, very excited. I would happily read your dissertation, my friend.
Thank you. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more. How did you get started? Like any nuggets that you could share about your journey? Like what inspired you to kind of do this work or get started? Like I would always love to know kind of what put people on that path that got them to where they are now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So basically for me, it kind of came out of left field a little bit. So I started in college as a college athlete playing soccer. And when I got to school, that's when I learned about organizations for the first time, leadership. All I really knew was soccer, for lack of better term. That's really all I knew. And so just going through the process of, learning about student leadership, becoming president of this organization, joining the greatest fraternity in all the world, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and so on and so forth. Had to put that plug in. And so on and so forth. Actually, one of my mentors and brother, Harrison Peters, he was a speaker in the educational space. So he was a chief superintendent for schools. So he would talk to teachers and educational systems about improving their processes. And so he would just come out and just mentor me and see some things that I was doing. And he just recommended it one day. And I was like, broke college student, probably not going to happen. And he was like, all right, well, here's $150. This is what you need to make a business in Florida. These are the steps I want you to follow. Take 1 year and build it. Year 2, try it. If it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. So I was like, okay, why not? So I did that. And then just in that process of learning the game, joining the Black Speakers Network, being a part of other organizations, and being able to facilitate my craft, not only in the professional, fraternal, and also personal spaces, it just kind of grew from there. So we're celebrating year 7 this year. And the transition from in-person to COVID to post-COVID has been character building, but there's always new organizations and new opportunities, especially as I expand my own personal brand to different areas. So it's been good.
Perfect. I really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, you've done a lot. I could see the foundation. And again, I've watched your career progression pretty closely, and it's really fascinating. And I think sometimes as speakers, and really, I guess any profession, there's an evolution. But you get to one phase and you realize, what's needed at the next level, and you're constantly in a state of shifting, evolving, growing, and figuring out how to take the things that you've been through and things you're continuously learning and apply it back into your business and help others along the way, man. So I really admire that. In a few minutes or a few seconds, I guess we have left, can you tell the people a little bit about what do you want to be your legacy? Like, how do you want people to remember you, man?
I'll say the biggest thing I like to share with everybody is that my goal is more or less is to translate, right? Being that middle bridge for as long as I can, but serving in that gray space so that those in the millennial generation and those who follow behind us are able to be adequately valued one-on-one. Where we often come into the field undervalued. You just went to school, you have no experience, or you're too young to do this and do that. And so primarily I just aim to be that facilitator to communicate that, again, that translation from where I am to those behind me to get further than where I was or am currently. And then on the flip side, hopefully make some change agents on the other side to assist in that process. Because no matter how you chop it up, you need help on both sides to make things happen.
That is the truth. We need to put that on a t-shirt, man. So very well said. And I'm sure you're well on your way to doing that, Kylie, man. So thank you so much again for joining us and also sharing a piece of your legacy, a piece of your wisdom. And again, if you want to connect with Mr. Kylie Richardson, you could do that in the bio. On our bio, you can find his bio at blackspeakersnetwork.com on the speakers directory. And again, Kylie, thank you for being part of Black Speakers Network, and I'm looking forward to continuing to expand your message, my friend.
Likewise, thank you for the opportunity. Have fun, everyone.
All right, so we are rocking and rolling. Again, if you're just joining us, you are watching Black Speakers Network. These are our speaker spotlight series. We host these throughout the month to give you an opportunity to meet, connect, and learn from talented Black professional speakers from all across the country, multiple areas of expertise. And if you are, in this space where you're like, you know what, I'm a speaker, or maybe you're an aspiring speaker and you're looking for help and support, we'd be happy to work with you. Everyone that you're hearing from today is actually what we call a BSN premium member. That means that they are in our community where they are getting access to ongoing training, speaker development, access to resources, tools, as well as speaking opportunities just like this every single week. And so if you are in that phase and you are interested in actually expanding your brand as a speaker, or getting started, or getting access to more speaking opportunities, we'd love to work with you. You can head on over to blackspeakersnetwork.com /join and find out more about how to become a Black Speakers Network premium member. Now, that said, we have 2 speakers left that I'm excited to hear from. And so I'm going to swing on back up the East Coast to, I believe, Hampton, Virginia, and introduce you to the one and only Monique. AJ Smith is in the building, virtually, of course. And Monique, I want to say good afternoon and welcome to you. And if you don't mind, please tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Brian. I'm really excited about being here with you today. I'm a leadership strategist for athletic departments, sport organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in athletic administration, sports business, or into the marketplace. My main interests, honestly, are Black women because I'm a 30-year veteran of athletic administration. I started out as a sports information director. I became an athletic director at 28 years old. I worked for compliance for Division I institution, and I served the CIAA for 13 years. I've been a consultant since 2005, and in 2013, I took my consulting full time. And so that's the basic. But one of the things that really my workshops I do for the universities is leadership, soft skills, growth mindset. I really work with staff And I do work with student athletes from a leadership standpoint. And I really enjoy that because my whole purpose is to plant seeds of empowerment to lead others to greatness. Also, I'm a podcaster of 8 years where I interview African American female athletic administrators. Have a magazine where I highlight the specialized knowledges of Black women athletic administration, and a co-author and an adjunct at Hampton University.
Listen, Monique, you're you are like a master class. You're one of my favorite examples in Black Speakers Network amongst our members of people who have found a niche. You'll hear us talk about that a lot. A niche, an area of expertise that you can't be questioned in. 30 years of sports management like experience. It is just no question to me why you are so valuable in this world, and you figured out a way to pivot and give that back. So I have a few questions. I love to start because there might be some people that really aren't familiar with the collegiate athletic world and exactly what that means. And so primarily, are you saying that you're going into colleges speaking directly to coaches, assistant coaches, and folks that are directly responsible for I guess facilitating college athletic programs? And then as a follow-up to that, what do you primarily see as the number one struggle that you're addressing from a leadership perspective with those individuals?
Well, you mentioned the coaches, but there's another layer. It's the leadership over the coaches, or work with the coaches. Let's be nice about it. But you have assistant ADs that have oversight over sports, that's over the coaches, and you have academics, you have compliance, you have facilities, you have development, which is raising money for the athletic department. Depending upon what level we're talking about, you can have several layers in between that and the coach. Now you go to Division 3 or Division 2, you may have a coach that has administrative roles, and how do you balance that? And then it has more of a family atmosphere, but even a family may need some type of direction of how to go, because again, you have people with different agendas, and it's like a ship. The ship is fishtailing because you got everybody going in different directions. And so what I do is I have a conversation with the leadership, and how, because sometimes you can't talk to your own team. You need to bring a facilitator in to assist with that. And so to answer your second question, one of the main ones is communication. Not knowing how to communicate with somebody who communicates different than you. The other one is really being in alignment. Why are you here? Are you really here to get to the next stepping stone? Or do you know what the mission and the vision of the athletic department you are at the time? And so I tell leadership, you set the expectations, people will eliminate themselves. And so that's two. And then the third one is what my main one of recent is called our playing field is expanding. And so beyond being X's and O's and wins and losses, you can't coach the way you were coached, because you're going to be fired. The day of doing that is over. So you have to be aware of social justice. You have to be aware of mental health. And you have to embrace name, image, and likeness, because the day is changed in athletics. So if you take those three right there, you have a different ingredient to be a leader within athletic administration, if you embrace that.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask you next, and that's a beautiful explanation. I think in general, the state of the world continues to change, and of course, these college campuses, whether student athletes or not, aren't insulated from the things that are happening. So you mentioned, social, justice. You mentioned, the mental health component, as well as the image and likeness conversations that have kind of dominated the news cycle when it comes to student athletes. And so these are all like shifting dynamics. And so I imagine it is much more challenging to to be a leader in any capacity in college. But, you know, I feel like student athletes are particularly already coming in. I mean, I can't imagine what the amount of stress that it would be to be a Division I, Division II, any college athlete at any level, really, to have to manage that and also deal with home and life and also, you know, actually graduate and keep your grades up. So like with that in mind, do you find yourself having to continuously maybe go back and are you working with clients like longitudinally where they're bringing you in on a consistent basis, or is it, or do you find yourself implementing kind of established programs and then perhaps going back and revisiting after a certain period of time? Like what's the cycle for you when it comes to addressing these type of issues?
Well, you know, athletics is seasonal. So
Sure.
when I do staff retreats, it's seasonal. It's usually in August or the spring and sometimes the summer. So, you know, from a university standpoint, that's it. But I have been doing individual executive coaching with the top executives, and that has been working out very well because, again, I'm able to uh, fix some fixed mindsets into some growth mindsets and be able to see about some alignments. Because, again, uh, advancement is dealing with how you deal with the no's. So most of the time, people don't know that how to strategically win an issue. And I say politics is not a dirty word. It is a game like spades. You just got to learn how the relationships are face cards. So I kind of teach those kind of things to help it go along. But a thing about the other issues, it's like name, image, and likeness. I partner. So with my podcast, I'm able to introduce different entities. And then I have an advanced academy where people pay me membership and I guide them. So I have someone coming in actually this weekend to talk about name, image, and likeness from a attorney standpoint, which is key because different states have different ways to deal with that. So I'm a lifelong learner, as you can see the books behind me, and I will bring people in to do that. So I do a lot of individual work, you know, to help other people because again, I tell coaches and individuals, I say you can't. You can always hire somebody to coach like you, but you really can't hire anybody to lead like you. So again, moving up, that's the only way that you can move up is to have someone under you. And you got to relinquish that whistle or relinquish that title to go and move up. Because I'm all about growth. That's why my thing is called Chat in the Garden. I want everybody to think about growth when you think about me.
Wow. Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. I'm looking at the comments and, you know, people are just, I think it's, again, this is a niche. It is a very specific world, but there's broadband principle. I mean, leadership is leadership across the board. And it's so cool to see that we have somebody that's dedicated like you to making sure that we can create like healthy programs across our colleges and universities. Last question, with the few seconds that we have left, we're going to ask about legacy. How is it, Monique, that you want people to remember you?
Well, it's two. One is planting seeds of empowerment to lead others to greatness. And the second one is I want to help lead others lead their ship to their desired destination.
Beautifully said. Listen, Monique, I'm so grateful that you are here. Thank you for sharing this. I have like notes and homework of stuff to go back and just like learn about some podcast episodes from you. I need to go back and listen to because, you know, I was not familiar with, you know, even how big of a conversation like name, image, and likeness is and just the leadership. So lots of homework for me to do, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are excited about connecting with you and learning more from you. So please make your way over to blackspeakersnetwork.com. speaker directory if you want to connect with Monique. She's the only Monique AJ Smith in our directory, so it should be pretty easy to find. And as you can see, she has lots of programs, resources all the time going out, so she is easily Googleable as well. But Monique, thank you again, and just thanks for being part of Black Speakers Network community, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn and partner with you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so guys, we've made it down to the end. We have one speaker left, and guess what? Again, if you are interested in connecting with any, I mean, you're just getting the icing on top of the cake. But if you are interested in more or just learning more about Black Speakers Network in general, make sure you head over to blackspeakersnetwork.com and get connected. So that being said, I'm going to go into our final speaker. She is down in Woodstock, Georgia. And so, again, we are all across the country, got the entire country covered. And I believe Georgia is actually where we have the largest kind of group of Black Speakers Network members right now. So you're in good company. But Reverend Souraya, I want to make sure I get your name correctly. Souraya. Ray, it's Souraya.
Souraya.
You know what? I'm gonna start over. From Woodstock, Georgia, Souraya.
You just want to say Souraya. That's what it is. It's okay. It's Souraya.
Souraya. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you're here, Souraya. Black Speakers Network, please tell the people a little bit about yourself. And by the way, we just wrapped up a session with Black Speakers Network. We have a speakers podcasting series. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your podcast as well throughout the course of the conversation. But welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight, and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. And let me first just say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I'm super excited. I love being a part of platforms such as yours. It's incredible. So a little bit about me. I am a women's pastor. I do run a ministry called Lilac Women's Ministry. I am also a life coach who specializes in trauma recovery as well as public speaking. Let's see, I am a 6-time author, and I am obviously a speaker. My specialty is group workshops for businesses. I have also been keynote on different occasions. I enjoy doing that, as well as preaching from the pulpit. I enjoy as well. In addition to that, I am a podcast host. I ran a podcast called Strong Enough for many years. However, my current podcast I actually do with my younger sister. So I truly enjoy being able to share that platform with her. And it is called Let's Talk with BS. And so that has been running since March of this year.
Very cool, very cool. And I want to add in, with your podcast with Let's Talk BS, because I think people thought BS were, or at least I thought, I was like, oh, what does this stand for? But it's actually your initials for you and your sister.
I love words, so I'm always looking for a way to play on words or use an acronym or something like that. So it just, I don't know, it brings my heart joy. As you can see, Lilac is also an acronym, which we'll talk about at some point. But so I enjoy doing that. So yeah, her name is Brandy. My name is Souraya. And so our podcast focuses on mental health, mental wellness. And so our goal is to remove the stigma around mental health conversation and just open up that conversation to be able to address different relatable and relevant topics as it pertains to mental health.
Well, let's talk about that now, because I feel like mental health is always a big conversation, much so within Black Speakers Network. We have an entire, kind of mental health cadre of speakers just because the need is so great. But the term stigma for mental health, I think, is something that I can relate with very well. I'm sure many people of color, particularly Black people, have probably grown up in spaces where, mental health was never a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And so as we talk about this now, what's your kind of opinion on the current state? Like, is there still a stigma attached to mental health and accessing mental health services, or do you feel like that's kind of lifted over the last couple of years?
So I feel like it is getting better. However, I feel like there is still somewhat of a stigma. And I found that the stigma is more so with Black men. And so it's very interesting because I feel like Black men are just now starting to come around to the idea of being able to seek out help. Women are more apt to do it, so it seems, but I still get the most pushback with Black men. And I hear the most it's interesting though. It's an interesting dynamic because I always hear Black men on some platform stating that there is not enough help out there for them. Yet when we offer help, they shy away from it. So it's an interesting dynamic, but that's what I find is happening right now.
Yeah, I can see that. I think I have personally been in therapy for continuously therapy for the last, going on 4 years almost. And it's been a staple really in terms of, just being able to navigate, every week there's something waiting for you in life to tackle. And so I think it's kind of good. And, not waiting until, there's some sort of like crisis to seek out resources. So, and I also know that even when I was looking for a therapist, not that we got to stick on this conversation, but I noticed that when it comes to therapists of color, there are more women than men. Like I feel like it's really hard to find like a Black male therapist or mental health professional in general.
Yeah, for the same reasons.
Yeah. Well, I know you focus on a couple different areas within your life coaching practice. You mentioned trauma recovery, happiness, spirituality, as well as, you're doing that in both individual and group coaching formats. I cannot talk today. But that being said, is there any area where, do you find yourself when people come to you, are they looking for support in one particular area, or is it more so like, hey, I know something's like broken, and then now, once you have an opportunity to start working with individuals, you can kind of see how different things are connected together?
So I actually have a really good mixture of both, to be honest. What threw me for a loop though is my public speaking coaching clients. When they come to me for public speaking, most of the time it ends up turning into more life coaching with regard to trauma recovery. So that too is an interesting dynamic to me because they came to me for one thing, wanting to get better in the area of public speaking, and turns out that they have all of these issues, which is part of why, they're being blocked from being able to be the best version of themselves. So that's kind of it. I get a lot of people that come to me with issues. They just feel lost. They feel lack of direction. I have a lot of people who come to me because they've found that the current relationships that they're trying to build are not working because they still are carrying baggage from childhood trauma. So a lot of different things.
Wow. Yeah. I want to read a list. I normally don't do this, but your website is so good and it's so comprehensive in terms of just articulating what it is that you do. I just want to kind of read a list of specific things that you and your company, kind of focus on from a life coaching perspective. So here they go. I got depression, anxiety, stress, divorce recovery, sexual assault, family secrets, domestic violence, insecurity, self-esteem / self-worth, forgiveness, and finding happiness. And so across all of those areas, one of the interesting things that you mentioned, going back to the speaking conversation, is that, man, when you're standing in front of an audience, when you're delivering a presentation, even doing something like this, you're exposed in a lot of different ways. And so if you are experiencing, insecurity, your self-esteem, your self-worth, all of that is on the line when you stand in front of an audience. And so I can kind of see what that, thread of connectivity is. And so it's really, really important, I think, that people kind of know the full breadth of services and, issues, and the fact that I think it's okay that we can reach out for help. Like, we don't have to, kind of go through this alone. But do you find people, struggling to I guess, like open up? Because these are some really, I mean, you're talking about divorce and, family secrets. Like these are really, these are topics that people could have just rooted and buried, and the trauma forced them to put it away for a long time. So do you find that it's challenging for people to actually open up and allow you to start working on the root causes of some of the things that they come to you for?
I'm gonna be really honest, and I want to answer your question a certain way, but the reality is, I think my God-given superpower is to allow people to feel comfortable enough that they spill it. Honestly, it's so weird. It's always been like that. Even when I was living in my mess and I was angry at the world and I had a chip on my shoulder, somehow people would still manage to find me and tell me their whole life story. So honestly, most of my clients initially feel pretty open. Are there a few, one or two that struggle? Absolutely. But I would say the vast majority from the first session, they're spilling their guts, and I love it because that means that they trust me and that they feel comfortable with me. Sometimes, yes, it does take a little bit of digging to get more to the root of what the issues are. So I do exercises with them to be able to do that, but for the most part, they feel relatively comfortable initially.
Makes perfect sense. And then last question, I think a lot of people think this, and then we'll get to the legacy question. How do you, because so you provide coaching,
Yeah.
which is different than therapy.
Yes.
So can you kind of outline what the difference is, and then also how maybe your clients would maybe typically, like, are you doing therapy in tandem, are you doing coaching and then therapy, like what is the line in the sand, and then how do you work to ensure that folks who maybe need like more different services or more advanced therapeutic treatment, like how do you ensure that they essentially like get access to the things that they need?
Yeah, so um, I draw a line in the sand because I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a clinical social worker. I am not a counselor, so to speak. Some of that falls under the pastoral title. However, that's not what I am licensed in, so I cannot claim those things. So I do not claim to do any therapy or any counseling. Life coaching, however, I am certified in. And so the difference the difference is kind of, I'm more of a cheerleader. I am more of a guide and a cheerleader and an accountability partner, and kind of that person behind you that's pushing you to the next level. Whereas therapists are more clinical, they do more clinically based, scientific based, um, what is the word that I'm looking for? Programs with you. And so that's not really what I do. I don't really do the clinical aspect. However, yes, some of my clients do need more advanced treatment than what the coaching aspect can provide. And so in those cases, I partner with, local people local to what they're wherever they are, because I have clients all over the place. So I try to partner with people local to them that they can, you know, build a relationship with if they need therapy or if they need medication even, or some people need to be on a depression medication or something like that, or they have deeper issues, bipolar, schizophrenia, different things that I particularly cannot address. And so in those cases, what I would do is partner with somebody who can give them more of exactly what they need. And sometimes those people still work with me because they still want the coaching aspect, because the therapist is not going to give them the coaching aspect either. So it's really great if a person has both, because they're getting a duality, and so they're being able to get a more wholesome plan for their lives.
Makes perfect sense to me. Thank you so much for giving us that distinction. So in the few seconds that we have, would you mind letting the people know what is it that you want to be remembered for? Like at the end of it all, like what do you want your legacy to be?
So honestly, I want my legacy to be that she was a lilac. And lilac stands for Ladies Influencing Life Altering Change. And that's what I want to be remembered for. A person who ran toward the fire and just simply desired to help people to heal and do what was necessary to become the best versions of themselves.
Beautifully said. Lilac, I love it. And so I'm always just impressed. I always have like 80 other questions like after like all of these interviews. But certainly here we have to cut it short. But again, if you want to connect with Souraya, Redemption, you can connect with her at blackspeakersnetwork.com/directory. Thank you so much for being part of the Black Speakers Network community. And I'm looking forward to continuing to partner with you.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye.
All right, folks, there you have it. I was looking at the comments and, I just want to say hello. I see Matthew, Carmen, Dr. Glenn, Tania, lots of people tuning in. Matthew said, hey, this is one of the best lunch hours I have. Certainly agree. And I'm glad that you could spend a portion of your day with us, regardless of where you are or when you will be watching this. Again, if we could support you at all on your speaking journey, head on over to blackspeakersnetwork.com/join. And if you are looking for a speaker for any of your stages, currently or in the future, we would love to be able to support you with that. So as we say here in Black Speakers Network, keep speaking up. Your audience awaits. And if you don't believe anything I say about the organization, here's a quick video to help you learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and how you too can connect with the audience you're called to serve. Have a great day. Being at a HBCU like Morgan State University, I saw firsthand the talent, the expertise, the creativity that we bring to the table when it comes to this world of public speaking.
Black Speakers Network is a space where I can interact and engage with my tribe, with Black speakers. It's all reflective of an abundance mindset that there is enough for all of us to win big.
BSN serves others not only in community, culture, but around the world.
BSN not only helped me book additional paid opportunities, but gave the accountability and confidence booster I needed to really strive and thrive consistently in my business.
They curate all the engagements and email them to you. So all you have to do is simply click and apply to the one that's applicable for your niche.
I have built my business and have expanded my knowledge, met amazing people, and I have landed several speaking engagements.
I truly thank the entire team behind Black Speakers Network for helping me share my story with the world.
In less than 3 years, I was able to increase my visibility, my credibility, and even my connectivity.
What I experienced with BSN is phenomenal connections. And I've met so many great people that have added value to my life in ways I just wouldn't have expected.
If you want to speak on college stages, BSN has something for you. If you want to speak and sell, I feel like BSN has a cohort for you.
At the end of the day, Black Speakers Network is really there for anyone who is longing to reach the audience that they're called to serve.
Black Speakers Network truly is a place where you can feel like you're home. If you are on the fence, get off the fence and join the family. You won't regret it.
It is the #1 organization that I recommend that every speaker become a member of if you really want to catapult your success and maximize to its fullest potential your voice.